I never imagined a tiny pink bassinet could make a grown woman lose her mind at 30,000 feet. But that's exactly what happened the moment HOA Karen spotted it in first class. My wife was cradling our 6-week-old daughter, exhausted from a red-eye flight, when this perfectly coiffed woman in a blazer, pearls, the full Karen uniform, marched up the aisle, pointed at the bassinet like it was a biohazard, and announced to the entire cabin, "That is not regulation, and it is not allowed up here." The way her entitled voice cracked sent a chill down my spine. I instantly recognized her, Mrs. Penelope Whitmore, president of our neighborhood HOA, the same woman who fined us $50 a day because our trash cans were 2 inches past the property line. And now, she was standing over my sleeping newborn, insisting a flight attendant remove us from the bulkhead seats we paid extra for, threatening to have the captain paged if we didn't comply immediately. Let me rewind 3 hours. We had just moved out of that cursed neighborhood 2 weeks prior, selling our house at a loss just to escape Penelope's reign of terror. We thought we were finally free, until Gate B14 in Atlanta showed me the boarding pass scanner flashing 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1DP. Whitmore. My stomach sank. She recognized us the second she stepped on board, that little shark smirk forming as she leaned toward the gate agent and whispered loud enough for half the plane to hear. "Those people cause nothing but problems in my community. Hope they're not expecting special treatment." My wife, Maya, already emotional from postpartum hormones and zero sleep, began tearing up when the agent mentioned a bassinet we reserved a month ago might not fit, because, guess who? Penelope had suddenly claimed a medical need for the bulkhead. Maya started quietly sobbing. Then Penelope swooped in for the kill. She told lead flight attendant Carla that FAA regulations prohibit non-approved infant devices in first class, and that, as a frequent Platinum Million Miler, she knew the rules better than the crew. She even whipped out her phone, show a screenshot of some random forum post she insisted was official policy. Carla looked uncomfortable, but began unlatching the bassinet from the wall, while Penelope folded her arms, triumphant. I could feel the rage boiling inside me, protective daddy rage flashing like wildfire. I opened my mouth to explode, but the captain's voice crackled over the PA. "Ladies and gentlemen, quick announcement before pushback." Penelope's smile widened. She thought she'd won. Then the captain continued. "We have a very special newlywed couple celebrating their honeymoon with us today in the Mint Suite, along with their beautiful newborn. Let's make sure they're well taken care of." Penelope's face froze. Carla unhooked the bassinet, but instead of storing it, she leaned over and whispered to us, "Follow me." She guided us past the first-class curtain, past Penelope's gaping mouth, all the way to the front of the plane, and opened a massive sliding door to the Mint Suite, a private cabin with a lie-flat bed and a 22-inch screen worth more than most people's monthly rent. Inside, another flight attendant was already installing the bassinet on a huge ottoman, cooing at our daughter as if she'd been expecting her all along. She was ours forever. Penelope started shrieking from behind the curtain. "This is discrimination. I have status. I requested that space for my bad back." That's when Carla, sweet, stone-faced Carla, leaned out and said words I remember forever. "Ma'am, the captain personally upgraded them. Also, he asked me to give you this." She handed Penelope a seatbelt extender and pointed her toward 4C and coach. The entire first-class cabin erupted in applause. But the real chaos hadn't even begun. The Mint Suite door slid shut with soft hiss, and the cheers behind us faded to muffled claps. Maya was trembling as she laid our daughter into the bassinet, half exhaustion, half adrenaline, and I was still processing that we'd just been handed the keys to the most exclusive seat on the plane. Then the intercom inside the suite buzzed. "Mr. and Mrs. Rivera, this is Captain Patel. Enjoy the suite, and congratulations on the little one. Also, sorry in advance for the turbulence ahead." He hung up before I could ask what he meant. Takeoff was silky smooth. 20 minutes later, champagne arrived, sparkling cider from Maya, warm cookies, noise-canceling headphones, the works. Our baby slept like an angel under the soft purple cabin lights. I finally exhaled. Then came the first knock. "Sir, ma'am, I'm so sorry," said Jess, one of the younger flight attendants, looking like she'd rather jump down the emergency slide then deliver this message. Passenger in 4C is demanding to speak to whoever stole the Mint Suite. She's threatening to call corporate mid-flight. Maya's eyes went wide. I laughed. Let her call. Just didn't. She already had, twice. And she was live streaming on Facebook, claiming discrimination against child-free passengers of status. I peeked at the comments scrolling on Jess's phone before she could hide it. Those breeders always get special treatment. Make her hold the screaming baby in coach. Platinum deserves better. Half the comments cheered Penelope on. The other half roasted her alive. 10 minutes later, knock number 2. This time it was Carla, the lead flight attendant, holding an iPad with the in-flight map zoomed to our location. Captain wants you to see this. She tapped play on a video from the galley camera. Penelope standing in the coach aisle, phone on a selfie stick. Fake cry about how the airline rewards bad parenting while loyal customers suffer. She even zoomed in on the seatbelt, extender draped over her arm like a prop. Over 2,000 people were watching live. Maya whispered, "She's unhinged." I was past anger. I was fascinated. This woman had followed us from our old neighborhood into the sky just to continue the war. Then the seatbelt sign dinged. The plane banked hard left. Captain Patel came back on. "Folks, air traffic control is rerouting us around weather. Some bumps ahead. Flight attendants, please be seated." The turbulence hit like a truck. Luggage bins rattled. Oxygen masks stayed put. Hearts jumped into throats. Inside our suite, the ride was cushioned, almost gentle. But in coach, pure chaos. That's when the suite door slid open again. Penelope herself stormed in, hair frizz mascara streaked, clutching the overhead bin like a life raft. "You think you can hide from me? This is assault. I have a bad back, and you stole my therapeutic space." Carla appeared behind her like a ninja. "Ma'am, you cannot be in here. Return to your seat immediately." Penelope spun. "I'm medically entitled. I have a note." She waved a crumpled doctor's note that looked suspiciously printed 5 minutes ago on the plane Wi-Fi. The plane dropped again. Penelope lost balance, stumbled forward, and face-planted straight into the lie-flat bed next to Maya. Our daughter woke and started wailing. Penelope's eyes locked on the bassinet, like it personally insulted her bloodline. Then Maya, sweet, soft-spoken Maya, who hadn't raised her voice once in 2 years of HOA hell, stood up, looked Penelope dead in the eye, and said, "Get away from my baby, or I swear to God, I will press the call button and have you zip-tied." The entire suite went silent, except for the crying and engines. Penelope opened her mouth. No sound came out. Carla grabbed her by the blazer. "Ma'am, federal offense. Let's go." They dragged her out. Penelope screamed a line that still makes me laugh. "You haven't won. I know where you live. I knew where you used to live." The door closed. Maya collapsed into my arms, sobbing and laughing at once. I thought that was the peak. I was so wrong. 20 minutes later, Captain Patel's calm voice returned. "Ladies and gentlemen, quick update. We've been cleared for priority landing at JFK. Federal air marshals will meet Flight 1274 at the gate. Please remain seated with seat belts fastened." Maya looked at me. I looked at her. We both looked at the bassinet, where our daughter had magically fallen back asleep. The revenge wasn't even over yet. The wheels touched down at JFK with a screech. The whole plane exhaled. Outside our little fortress, the cabin was chaos. Spilled drinks, crying kids. One guy actually clapping like he'd survived a war. Inside the Mint Suite, it still smelled like warm cookies and baby lotion. Our daughter yawned, stretched, and gave the tiniest smile, completely unaware she just starred in the most viral mid-air meltdown of the year. The plane hadn't even reached the gate when the intercom crackled. "This is Captain Patel. Folks, local law." Enforcement and federal air marshals were waiting at the jet bridge for one passenger. Everyone else was instructed to remain seated until the forward door opened. A cheer went up in first class. Someone in coach yelled, "Get her, officers!" The suite door slid open one last time. Carla stepped in, eyes sparkling with something very close to joy. She handed me her phone. Captain thought you want to see this before we open the door. On the screen, Penelope's Facebook Live had exploded to 1.4 million views. The top comment with 87K likes came from an account named Captain V. Patel, verified with the blue check. Actual FAA Regulation 91.107 requires approved restraint systems for every passenger under 24 months. The Bassinet Mrs. Whitmore tried to remove is FAA certified. Her behavior, however, violates 49 U.S.C. Section 46504, interference with flight crew. Enjoy the welcome party, Karen. Below it, the airline's official account had pinned, "We do not tolerate abuse of crew or other passengers. Lifetime flying privileges revoked effective immediately." Maya gasped. Carla grinned. That's not even the best part. She tilted the phone so we could see the jet bridge via the galley camera. 2 uniformed air marshals, 3 Port Authority officers, and a very tired-looking gate supervisor were waiting. Penelope was already at the aircraft door, arms flailing, phone in hand, trying to go live again. We watched as an officer calmly took the phone into the stream and said, "Ma'am, turn around, please." Click. Cuffs. But the real twist still makes my chest tighten. Came 30 seconds later. The forward door opened and a woman in a sharp navy suit stepped on board, holding a tablet. She walked straight to the Mint Suite, knocked politely, and introduced herself as the airline's Vice President of Customer Experience. "Mr. and Mrs. Rivera, on behalf of the entire company, I want to apologize for the distress caused today." She handed us 2 envelopes. Inside, lifetime Mint upgrades for our family of 3, plus a $25,000 trust fund contribution for our daughter's college, deposited today. We reviewed Mrs. Whitmore's account history and discovered she has been harassing crew and passengers on flights for years. Today was simply the final straw. Maya started crying again, happy tears this time. The VP smiled softly. "There's one more thing." The crew stepped aside. Every flight attendant on board filed into the suite holding a tiny envelope. Inside each, handwritten notes and cash tips collected from grateful passengers. Total, $4,837. Carla winked. Coach passengers have been especially generous after seeing the live stream. We hugged every crew member like family. As we finally walked off the plane, Penelope was being escorted the opposite direction in handcuffs, still yelling about lawsuits and my husband's lawyer. One officer calmly read her rights, while another held the seatbelt extender she refused to return, now tagged as evidence. At baggage claim, a news crew was waiting. Someone on the flight had tipped them off. We slipped out the side door, baby snug against Maya's chest, laughing so hard we could barely breathe. 3 months later, the final cherry arrived. A letter from our old HOA, forwarded to our new address. Penelope Whitmore had been removed as president after multiple ethics complaints, including using HOA funds to pay her legal fees from the airline incident. The new board voted unanimously to refund every fine she had ever issued us, plus interest. The check, $9,400. We framed it next to our daughter's first family photo, taken in the Mint Suite. In the photo, she sleeps peacefully while Maya and I look like we survived a war and hit the jackpot at the same time. Sometimes, watching the baby monitor, Maya leans over and whispers, "Remember when a Bassinet sent a Karen to jail and paid for your college?" I smile, kiss them both, and think, yeah, best $300 airplane accessory we ever bought. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button. Every subscription motivates me to bring you more exciting and dramatic HOA tales. Tap the bell icon so you never miss an upload. I'll see you in the next story, where justice gets even sweeter.